Hi sir, good day po. In line with the task that was assigned to me, what I'm going to discuss is about the graphical representation of group data. So let's discuss first what is the graphical representation of group data. Well, it is collecting data, organizing them, graphing them, and interpreting those graphs. So here are the specific ways which we can represent data. So let's say that every year in our school have to check up the height and body weight of students to make sure that the students are healthy, fit, and fine. However, there's a lot of data and must have to display it in an easier way so that the representation of data could understand better. In an ungrouped data, we can get the precise value of a particular event. But this method is not possible for the group data. So group data can be easily represented through histogram. So what is histogram? Histogram are like bar diagram. However, histogram has no gaps, while the bar diagram has gaps, like shown in the figure. So these are the steps to make a histogram. First, let's have the height of students on the x-axis and the number of students or frequencies on the y-axis. Now, we can make rectangles corresponding to the frequencies on x-axis, and we make sure that the class with it is kept constant. And in this way, the graph so obtained is so called as histogram, which is a graphical representation of group frequency distribution with continuous classes. Next is the frequency polygon. So, poly in Greek means many and gon means angles. A polygon is a closed figure with many or poly sides. So what is frequency polygon? A frequency polygon is called so as the line created resembles half of a polygon and plotted the frequencies in the data. Frequency polygons are more useful in comparing sets of data and actually the best for comparison of sets of data of the same size. And a frequency polygon is very similar to a histogram. In fact, they are almost identical. And it is also possible to plot two cumulative frequency distributions in the same graph, and can be achieved by overlapping the frequency polygons drawn for different datasets. Another type of graphical representation of group data is ogive. What is ogive? The word ogive is a term used in architecture to describe curves or curved shapes. Ogives are graphs that are used to estimate how many numbers lie below or above a particular variable or value in data. It is also defined as the frequency distribution graph of a series. The ogive is a graph of cumulative distribution which explains data values on the horizontal plane axis. So there are two methods of ogives, which are the less than ogive and the greater than ogive. So in the less than ogive, the frequencies of all preceding classes are added to the frequency of a class. This series is called the less than cumulative series. It is constructed by adding the first class frequency to the second class frequency, and then to the third class frequency, and so on. The downward cumulation results in the less than cumulative series. While in the greater than ogive, the frequencies of the succeeding classes are added to the frequency of a class. This series is called the more than or greater than cumulative series. It is constructed by subtracting the first class, second class frequency from the total, third class frequency from that, and so on. The upward cumulation result is greater than or more than the cumulative series. Here are the examples of ogive. And lastly is a pie chart. Pie chart is a graph named after a sliced pie due to their resemblance to each other. It is originally created by William Playford, and this data visualization method is widely used in business and mass media. It is a circular graph divided into various sectors to illustrate numerical proportions. In other words, the pie is divided into different slices, with each slice representing the frequency of the processes in the dataset. The entire pie represents 100% of the dataset, while each sector or pie slices represents a portion of the whole dataset. The portions that exist in the pie are measured as an angle of the total, 360 degrees. So, there are two types of pie chart. First is the 2D pie chart. It is a circular graph that visualizes the percentage of occurrence of particular variables in a dataset. While a 3D pie chart, it is a three-dimensional